Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for watching. It's the windiest day probably ever right now, so I apologize if it's messing up the audio. But over these last couple weeks, like I'm sure a lot of you guys have, I've been watching the Rittenhouse trial, and that's actually why I haven't posted quite as many videos lately, because I've been really invested into this trial. But there's a lot of memes and jokes going around the internet about the prosecuting attorney saying that hollow points explode on impact.
Hollow point bullets are designed to hit the animal that they're being shot at, let's say a deer for example, and explode inside that body, correct?
No, I don't think so.
And while everybody else is making fun of the guy, I think what's going on here is he secretly watches our channel and he saw the videos on the exploding 12-gauge slugs. I mean, just look at him. That's clearly a dude that knows his guns. All right, guys, so this is a 45 ACP hollow point, a really common handgun caliber, and this is a 5.56 hollow point, a really common rifle caliber. And no matter what gun you're using, hollow points are all pretty much designed to do the exact same thing: expand, not explode. Unless your rifle can shoot RPGs somehow, which would actually be pretty awesome. Sorry. So hollow points are designed to expand in soft targets, creating more resistance as they penetrate and hopefully reduce over-penetration. But it sounds much better in theory than it often works in reality. And just because you're using a hollow point doesn't guarantee that it's not going to over-penetrate. The same way that using a full metal jacket ball round doesn't guarantee that it will over-penetrate. That's why be sure of your target and what's beyond it is always an important safety rule to follow. But ironically, prosecutors will often try to villainize people who use hollow points, claiming that they're designed to do maximum damage. Well, in this case, we actually saw the prosecution try to villainize him for not using hollow points, while simultaneously claiming hollow points explode on impact, which seem way worse by his own logic, so that's interesting. But what's frustrating is there's millions of people watching this, and a lot of them have probably never shot guns or just don't know any better. So today, we're gonna try to clear this up for any of you guys that might be just getting into all this and are a little bit confused about it. All right, so this is a 10% ballistics gel block. These are used by law enforcement agencies all over the world to test ammo and provide a consistent medium to show expansion and bullet performance. So we're gonna use this and compare some different full metal jackets and hollow points and see what the differences actually are. And since this guy watches the channel, maybe we can help him not look so dumb the next time he tries to wrongfully convict someone. All right, we're gonna start with a couple handguns first, and then we'll step up to the rifle and compare some different ammo out of that. But I think you'll see no matter what caliber we're shooting, there's so many variables that go into this stuff, you're never really guaranteed a definite result. So first up, we have the 9mm. This is the Norma monolithic hollow point, and we're shooting it out of my brand new Gen 5 Glock 19. By the way, I put a second gel block on the table just in case anything passes all the way through the first one. So hopefully we catch all these bullets. Get ready for the explosion. Doesn't look like it exploded. That's weird. Well, that was kind of disappointing. I thought that hollow point was going to explode in there, but you can see where it went into our ballistics gel block right there. And then if I go over to the side, you can see that wound cavity and where that bullet came to a stop, and it's definitely fully expanded. So you can see the penetration is not that deep, and that is because that hollow point expanded. And in my experience, the difference between full metal jackets and hollow points is much more dramatic with calibers like the 9mm than it is in most rifles. So if that was just a full metal jacket ball round, it would have got a lot more penetration than that. All right, next up we have a 45 ACP. This is the Federal Punch, and we're gonna shoot this one out of the SDS 1911. We're gonna do several videos on this. Thanks to Turtle Lake Tactical once again for sending this gun out to us. Definitely a cool 1911, but honestly, in previous videos, I've seen the 45 not work as well because it's not going as fast as the 9mm, but we'll see how this one does. All right, so there's our 45 right there on top. You can see the wound cavity is not nearly as big as it is with the 9mm, and it also penetrated much further, like almost twice as far. But you can see our bullet right there, and that bullet definitely expanded really well. So the 9mm is obviously going quite a bit faster, and that does affect the expansion and penetration, but both of those did really well. All right, guys, now we're stepping it up to the AR-15. This is my BCM. It has a 16-inch barrel, so the exact same size as the gun that was used, and we're gonna start out with a 5.56 ball round. This is just XM193 regular cheap 5.56 target ammo, probably very similar, if not exactly what was used as well. So now, like I said, because the 5.56 is going so fast, it's kind of hard to predict what it's going to do. Sometimes they get a lot of penetration, sometimes they tumble and go crazy and don't penetrate as far. Plus, they're going so fast that they actually tend to penetrate less than a lot of handgun rounds, even with full metal jacket target ammo. So let's see what this one does. All right, so our 5.56 went in right there on the bottom, and you can see it's literally like a pinhole for the first few inches in that ballistics gel. And then over here, you can really see how much damage that 5.56 did. By far, the biggest wound cavity that we've got so far. But if you look towards the end of that first gel block, you can see that's our bullet right there. It's turned backwards, which tells me it was probably tumbling in the gel block, and that's what did all that damage. But it actually got less penetration than the 45 ACP hollow point did. So like I said, because the 5.56 is going so fast and it's so lightweight, even though it's a rifle round, it doesn't tend to over penetrate as much as people think. And even the 45 ACP hollow point got more penetration than the 5.56 did. So with that caliber, over penetration, even with full metal jacket ball ammo, is not as much of a concern as a lot of people make it out to be, especially uneducated people like this douchebag. All right, guys, now we're gonna try the Black Hills 77 grain OTM. This is a 5.56 hollow point, actually one of the best 5.56 hollow points probably, but we saw that the full metal jacket 5.56 kind of uses tumbling to do its damage and slow it down, whereas this obviously expands like a hollow point. So let's see what the difference is. All right, so we put that one probably an inch or two above the first one that we shot. It's gonna be kind of hard to see because they are pretty close together, but I would say the full metal jacket 5.56 actually had a much bigger wound cavity than the Black Hills, but the Black Hills definitely broke apart more and is pretty impressive in its own way. But if you look at the penetration, you can see there's maybe an inch or two difference, not really that much of a difference in terms of penetration. So again, because they're going so fast, when you shoot a hollow point out of a rifle, they tend to break apart and do crazy things. They don't uniformly expand like a lot of handgun calibers do, and there's so many variables that go into this stuff, you're not guaranteed to get more penetration with one round or the other. In fact, I think a lot of the rounds that he shot did not over penetrate, and if that was the case, they would have all just blown straight through. But as you can see, none of these hollow points magically turned into grenades and exploded my ballistics gel blocks either. But since we're on the topic, before we wrap it up, why don't we shoot one of our special slugs? It never gets old. Of course, my slow-mo camera died right before we shot that, so I really hate to do this, but I guess we gotta shoot another one. If you're aware of a cooler shotgun slug than that, I would love to know what it is, because those are awesome. All right, everybody, that is gonna do it for me today. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I realize that most of you are well aware that hollow points don't actually explode on impact, but after seeing all the crazy lies and stuff that have been put out these last couple weeks, I had to make a video on this and kind of poke fun at the whole thing and clear it up for anyone that might be confused about this. As of right now, the jury's still out and I'm praying for the correct verdict. It's unfortunate that this has become political. This is not about left or right, Republican or Democrat. This is about self-defense, and it just bugs me that they've made this whole thing about politics, but that's kind of what happens with everything these days. Either way, let me know in the comments how you feel about all this. If you like the video, guys, please hit that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.